4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What's up, Vikings fans? Welcome to another episode of House Calls with the Skull Doc. I am your host, the Skull Doc. Joining me, as always, is my partner in crime, Dave. This show is brought to you by Minnesota Sports Talk. And partner, it's good to see you again. We took last week off just with some life events going on, and not a lot to talk about, honestly, last week. But we had the owners' meetings today, and just a few more topics to touch base on. But good to see you, man.
Yeah, glad to be back talking about the Vikings. Funny thing, I actually gave a ride this weekend. I asked this guy, where he was from, and told me. And I said, we have a sports team. And he said, Washington Redskins. He says, my dad played for him. And I go, who's your dad? And he was the kicker for 1982 that won the MVP for that strike shortened season. So. And yeah, so I was driving around a son of an MVP for like an hour. So
that's awesome.
I got to talk about some old time football with him. He was younger than me. He was like 10 years younger than me, but his dad's in his like 80 years old now, or in his 70s, and I got to talk about a lot of Washington Redskins football for a while.
The only run-in I really have with like an NFL player is I was in a surgery. I didn't do the surgery, but I was a resident helping with the surgery of a current NFL player. And I can't say who for HIPAA reasons. But like maybe down the road, 20 years down the road, I'll release that info because at that point he's not going to come after me.
But I picked up a Viking once. I can't think of his name now, but it was like a guy from 15 years ago that was he was a backup for us. Defensive end. I can't even think of his name right now, but God, he took up my front seat. That's for sure. He was huge.
Oh, and I shared an elevator in the hospital with Tariq Cohen, the old Bears running back. He was on his way up to a clinic, not my clinic, but a clinic, and not saying what he was there for or anything like that, but shared an elevator with him, and he's 5'7", 5'8". He is a short dude, but he was built.
I shared an elevator with Lou Holtz once.
Lou Holtz, okay.
Yeah, I was doing site support for South Carolina, but I've said this before. I picked up Redmond's college roommate once.
Oh,
he saw I was a Vikings. The guy saw I was a Vikings fan. It's on my bio, and I have a tag up front as Vikings. So he started talking to me that he knew Redmond. And this is before this was like from 2 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm like, he's looking good.
Yeah,
he's looking good. He's looking good. I mean, he's surprising everybody. I wonder if he gets more playing time. Yeah. He was a basketball player. He said he didn't play football until it was like junior high school or something like that. Nice. Or senior year of high school, and he was a basketball player before that. But late bloomer.
Late bloomer, man. Better late than never. What's up, Bob? What's up, Two Tone? Good to see you guys. Let's get into our Vikings talk. So first topic on the agenda tonight was, talking about Kyler Murray and the fit in the Kevin O'Connell offense. Now, there's been a few articles going up lately, Matthew Collar, Alec Lewis, showing the film and kind of showing us that our first impression of, is this a good match between these two? Maybe we were wrong to assume that it was going to be an odd match. And Kevin O'Connell came out at the owners' meetings and said that, Kyler does a lot of things in the pocket with progression-based timing, playing with timing and rhythm that people don't necessarily talk about enough, and that Kevin O'Connell believes he can bring that to the Vikings offense. Now, my question is, the Vikings and Kevin O'Connell, they like to be under center a lot, like 50% under center, whereas Kyler in the past in Arizona, even in 2024, when he was under the, more Kevin O'Connell type system, wasn't under center nearly as much as what Kevin likes to have his quarterback under center. So in my opinion, I think that's the biggest change. I think we're going to see some more shotgun with the Vikings offense this year. I think it helps that we brought in Frank Smith from the Dolphins, who kind of specialized with having an offense mostly from the shotgun, especially with his run schemes kind of stemming from the shotgun. And just my last thought before I'm going to let you go, partner, is I thought it was interesting at the owner meeting. Kevin O'Connell started to kind of go into a little bit how Frank Smith can help them marry up the running game in the shotgun. But not only that, but they can add some formations that kind of utilize Kyler Murray's running ability. And they're looking to capitalize on defenses who use a spy against Murray to open up Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison on the back end. So, that all sounds exciting to me. What are your thoughts on the marriage of the Kevin O'Connell system with Kyler Murray?
I think even Kyler Murray under shotgun, not under center, and the potential of getting defensive linemen just getting lost trying to find out where he is on creative type of running plays would be awesome. Honestly, I feel good about that. You don't know where the ball is when you got a 5'9" quarterback. Now, if he's in shotgun, you can see him. You see him the whole time, basically. So that's where you can get creative. Now, if it is going to be more shotgun, I have no problem throwing from shotgun. I love it. Running from shotgun, oh God, I just grinds my gears. I just I'm just like, there's no momentum. You really gotta, it always seems like you got to make a guy miss. But the fact that you have a potential threat, a dual threat at quarterback, does add to that effect. And we kind of had it with McCarthy. We didn't do it very often, but we got a more experienced quarterback now. Rob B. And I can't really say his name.
Brzezinski.
Well, it looks like there's a couple Z's in there. It's separated by a vowel, so I don't know how to exactly say it. At least that's how the Vikings put it on their YouTube channel when I was watching the video. Brzezinski, and yeah. he was excited the fact that he got a talented quarterback in the free agency. He was excited about it. I'm not one to say that, hey, there's only one scheme a head coach can run, or there's only one style that he's capable of doing. I think the best coaches will fit their offense around their players, and I think that will show you what he's made of as a head coach. Can he really lean on the strengths of Kyler Murray? And there are strengths, and I've always been kind of biased against short quarterbacks. I probably would have, if Fran Tarkenton was, playing today, I probably would have been biased against him. He's only 5'10". So yeah, but I see the timing ability in him is pretty good. I think he finds windows. He has to. He's had to do it his whole life. So there's a lot of experience there. When McCarthy just didn't have the experience, he's trying to throw over guys, and he is bombing it out of bounds because he doesn't have touch or didn't throw it in a window, because there's 6'5" guys coming at him. So I think with the experience of doing that, and again, I think he's an accurate quarterback, and I think stats prove that. So I think if you got that as a head coach, and I think that he's always said it, that accuracy was like the number one thing of a quarterback, and that wasn't what's going on with McCarthy right now. So he's probably licking his chops, I think, with what he's capable of doing with Kyler Murray. And I know we've got some listeners that are not fans of this move or fans of our head coach. So, but I think one bad year does not make a coach. We just had some, injuries, and, quarterback play just wasn't there. So I think we can bounce back, and with the talent, and I do believe that, Kyler Murray has got talent.
100%. We talked about this on the previous shows where I felt like, throwing over the middle was kind of overblown for him when you look at the weapons that they had and the type of routes that they won on. Marvin Harrison Jr. has not been a good wide receiver yet in the NFL. And, so the numbers when Kyler Murray went his way have not been good. That includes the deep ball stuff. So I am interested it'll be fun to watch it shake out. It'll absolutely be fun. Part of that fun is the types of formations that they use. How much are they going to use his legs How much are they going to have him under center? When he is under center, are they going to roll him out a majority of the time to get him looks over the line, or are they just going to do straight drop back passing? So it'll be fun to see how Kevin O'Connell utilizes Kyler Murray and his talents.
And I like jailbreaks. Tyreek Hill at Kansas City, that was amazing. He'd just get open, and we could have that with a Jordan Addison, or in fact, we signed him up for a 5th year, so that's awesome. They got faith in him. Keep that up. Don't make us regret it, please, Jordan Addison. That's a story for another day. But I rolling out, sidestepping a guy. Obviously, he's got more lateral ability than McCarthy does to avoid a tackle, to just give him by a little more time to get a guy to come back to the ball. There's also, that is part of an offense is when shit breaks down, can you still move the ball? Right. And Kyler Murray's made for that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Now, would I rather have a 6'5" guy that, would I rather,
of course,
can see over everything with a strong arm and, pretty good mobility? Yeah, but I'm biased. And I have to think of, and I try to lean on the side of positive and to my own detriment sometimes.
Yeah.
But
no, I think the NFL prefers that for a reason, right? Like the prototype is 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", right? Yeah. The NFL has shown us throughout history that it prefers taller quarterbacks, and that's a real thing with Kyler Murray. Like, there are certain things he cannot see all the time because of his height. So no, there'll be a little bit of growing pains with that, and Kevin O'Connell and him need to figure out ways to create throwing lanes for him and ways to see over the offensive line, especially his center being 6'5".
If he's under center, can he see over Brandle's butt?
Right.
I mean, Jesus.
A 3-step drop is going to be tough for him.
If Brandle sits down in a chair, he's still taller probably than Kyler Murray and me.
You're probably close to the same height.
Yeah.
You mentioned Jordan Addison's 5th year 5th year that they picked up his option. And I think that was $18 million in 2027. So he's still on his rookie contract for this next year. But now he is officially under contract in 2027 for $18 million, 1-year deal. And Rob Brzezinski called that a no-brainer. He was actually, according to Matthew Collar and Alec Lewis and Kevin Seifert, who were at that meeting with them at the breakfast at the owner meetings, he kind of had this look on his face like, oh, are you guys surprised? I mean, yeah, there's a no-brainer. Like, of course you do this. It's a formality. And the reason it's a no-brainer is because when you look at the contracts that these guys are getting on the open market right now, a player of Jordan Addison's caliber is getting $30 million annually. Now, this 5th-year contract option does not lock him into a long-term deal. No. And in fact, you can still trade him if you wanted to, even this year, if you still wanted to. You could trade him at the deadline if you wanted to.
And now they got a cheap, receiver for next. That's, could be receiver 1 for you.
Exactly. So it helps a team trading for him that they have, they know he's not going to be a free agent after next year. He is locked up, and then you can, extend him, the team trading for him, if they want to, which obviously they would. So yeah, no brainer. It doesn't mean that we can trust him with a long-term deal. I still have concerns about that, but at least it buys us now like 2 years with Jordan Addison where he can keep his nose clean. And if he can prove over the next year and a half, then maybe you do extend him, before he hits free agency. But at the same time, that kind of brings up another question, Dave.
So look at this really quick.
Yeah.
That's how it's pronounced. That's how it's spelled. Okay.
Brzezinski.
He says Brzezinski.
Yeah.
But look how it's spelled.
Just say it quickly. Rob Brzezinski.
Brzezinski. There you go. I said it right. That's how I'm saying it. That's how I'm going to say it. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to do it. I'm going to probably say Brzezinski.
My question to you, Dave, and to the guys in the comments here is, do we necessarily want to build a team like the Bengals and pay all the wide receivers? Is that a team build that you guys want? Because I question that. I know Jordan Addison is a very damn good wide receiver too, and he makes us better. But I am kind of leaning towards they should probably trade him after this next year to a team who wants to pay him. And we should probably be looking to draft a wide receiver this year and then maybe another one next year in line to replace him. That's my thoughts. But then again, the counter argument to that is the cap continues to go up. You can afford to pay 2 wide receivers big money, but how close does that Addison contract get to Justin Jefferson? Because that's another thing, guys. Justin Jefferson's deal is going to need to be reworked soon, because now you got dudes like Alec Pierce getting Justin Jefferson money out there, and he's not going to love that, right? He's going to want to raise. Yeah. So where do you lie on that one, partner?
So I trading him, it could make sense if we have a mediocre season. But if we're close, we're like, oh my God, we just need I feel like our defense is still gonna be awesome. I still feel like we got weapons on offense, and I feel like our line's gonna play better, healthy. So and 2 years removed from injury on a couple of guys. So I'm like, if you're close, just eat that last season, and if we can afford to, if we can afford it, maybe. But yeah, that last year, wait to play through the deadline. If we're doing awesome and we're top of the league in that 2027 year, you're just gonna have to keep them. And you might have missed your opportunity to trade him, but hey, the chance at winning an NFC title, going to the Super Bowl, much more outweighs that. Yeah, it sucks that we didn't traded Danielle Hunter at the
right.
Hindsight's 2020, right? I thought we had a good enough team to be competitive, to be a Super Bowl contender, because the way we were playing until with the 3 in a row, whooping on the Packers and Cousins getting hurt. That almost, if Cousins doesn't get hurt, this is a totally different story. But yeah, hindsight 2020, we missed our chance to get a nice little haul for Danielle Hunter.
They still had time to trade him, by the way, after Cousins tore his Achilles. I think that happened before the trade deadline.
Yeah, it was week 8.
It was right before it.
Yeah.
And Kwesi went to talk to the players, I remember, in the locker room. And the players are like, don't give up on this year. We still believe.
Like any player would, right?
Yeah,
and that's
they won a
probably
couple
why
games
he's not
the astronaut.
Yeah, it's probably why he's not our GM anymore. But he won, Pasternaut wins 2 games, and we're all thinking, oh my God, what a genius. No.
Right.
That Bears game, that Raiders game, oh my God.
Yep. So again, I'm not advocating to trading Jordan Addison this year, unless, like you said, they're just falling apart, injuries, whatever, at the trade deadline, and they decide to become sellers. Then yeah, if you can get something great, 1st or 2nd round pick for him, and you're not going to extend him long term, then I guess that makes sense. Same thing with Jonathan Grenard at that point. But and we'll talk about that soon as well. But yeah, I'm in no rush to get rid of a really good wide receiver too. I guess my line of questioning for you in the audience was, do you trust him to give him a long-term extension after the 5th year option? And for me, he still has to prove that. He has to keep his nose clean for a year and a half to get me feeling okay about him doing so. However, even if he keeps his nose clean for a year and a half, you know what they say about money, right? When you get the bag, that's when we see what true colors you really have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, more money you have,
better or worse,
shows you more who you are.
Exactly. So if he's getting in that much trouble without the money, I am pretty concerned about Jordan Addison once he gets a bag.
Now, I've said this. One of the biggest reasons why I was glad we gave gave the money to our number 1 receiver is that if we missed on our quarterback, that we could use him as trade bait. And we're in that situation right now. We may have missed on our quarterback, and we got a long-term contract. And
dude, I just don't see it. I mean, not anytime.
I'm just saying I said that before.
Yeah.
We drafted the QB. And
they've messed with Justin Jefferson's contract so much that there'd be so much dead money to trade Justin Jefferson. It'd be like the Dolphins cutting their quarterback, right? And they have like 2 years worth of $100 million dead money that they're eating on Tua. So I just don't see that anytime soon, but we'll see.
I'm not saying I want it to happen. I'm just saying, hey, if we had to rebuild, you don't rebuild by keeping your most expensive players.
Yeah. Well, speaking of rebuilding, the guy that would be doing it is Rob Brzezinski. And I got to credit Rob, man. Like, I watched some of these pressers that he did down at the owners' meetings. He's pretty good at it. You know, he's been with the team forever, but I haven't really
34 years, he said he went down. He's been at those owners' meetings.
Yeah.
Or
and like,
meetings.
I'm sure, you know, he's been around, but like, I don't know how much he's been in front of the camera. He looked comfortable. He looked poised. He looked confident. He did a good job. I mean, he looks like a GM. Like, he kind of reminded me of Rick Spielman.
Yeah. He was asked by our media girl, I forget her name, but he said, well, you know, what's different? And he says, well, you know, I got to be in front of the camera now.
Yeah.
It's something different.
I think her name is like Taysom or something, right?
Yeah. She does a great job. I'm not good with names.
She's good. I've liked what he's had to say so far. So, like, if you boil down what he's had to say, to me, the bullet points are, we wanted to get the books right for 2027, right? Like, our eyes are on 2027 in terms of getting the books right. We had price points on a bunch of players, and I was really proud that we didn't step over the line on those price points. And it seemed like he was really excited to get Kyler Murray on a $1.3 million deal, just an incredible opportunity that never presents itself. And he was happy that they were able to do that, but at the same time that, you know, they are an organization that quarterbacks want to come to play for because of the facilities and the coaching. And it's just a destination franchise like you've talked about all along. And in terms of the draft, he keeps saying, and I believe him, like, it's very cliche for GMs to say best player available, but I believe him when he says, we are going to stay true to our draft board, like Rick Spielman style, and take the best player available.
You think he's going to ask about their music choices?
No, I don't.
Okay. I'm good with it then.
I don't.
I know I harp on that. But yeah, he was talking about you know, having our board set up, being able to take the best player available, and that's how you build a team, because injuries happen, and then you get other players to fill spots and stuff like that. Or injuries don't happen, and you're just more loaded at that position. Gives you, you know, if you want to get, if you're gonna fill that void, you're not going to do it with a mediocre player. It's not going to make a difference. So getting the best player available is, I think, always the number one choice. Now, when you double up on quarterbacks that aren't going to ever see the field, that is a little different. Like when they, you know, Atlanta drafted Penix, it's like, Jesus, you just gave a shitload of money to Cousins. Why you could have got this guy, you could have got that guy. You got a guy with 2 knee injuries, two ACL surgeries at 25 years old. You know, it's like, what, you know, that kind of thing. I would cringe at that if you double up on a situation like that, and it's almost like a wasted pick. And now look at their situation. But yeah, that's probably the only position that I would like not to double up on besides kicker and holder. You know, those two also. I wouldn't want to double up on a kicker or holder or punter. But yeah, you know, offensive line, you get that next big tackle, you know, just the next guy up. You know, you can trade off if that guy works out, you can trade off the starter. You know, there's flexibility when you're strong in a position. And I know you're going to talk about what we feel like what we need to fill our team, but I think this draft is set up nice for us. You know?
Yeah, this draft, in my opinion, from the research that I've done, there's very few blue chip, that guy's a Pro Bowler type of talent. However, there's a lot of quality starters that you can find throughout the first 3-4 rounds. So everyone says you want a lot of picks between 25 and 90 in this draft. And I think that's true. I think that's the sweet spot. So we'll see what the Vikings do. We'll see how much Rob Brzezinski is apt to want to move around. You know, I
We
kind
may
of
move
think,
we may move down from first, the 18th pick.
yes, I feel like Rob Brzezinski, who did he sit back and watch most of all throughout his time in Minnesota? It was Rick Spielman. And I like the way that Rick coordinated the draft. Rick Spielman was Mr. Trade Down, right? That guy traded down a lot. And there's a reason. Like, you know who else trades down a lot? The Baltimore Ravens and their GM, who is highly regarded in the NFL. They've done studies that show the draft is very random. And the best way to capitalize on the draft is to have more picks, especially if you can get top 100 picks. You're going to have more success.
Yeah, if you're just
So,
loading up on 7th round picks, it's a different story. But
correct.
if you trade down and we get, we move up in the second and get an extra third, that's pretty
That's
good
big.
deal.
So Rick Spielman used to love those 7-round picks, and he would tell us, it's nice having the 7th rounders because you get a head start on the undrafted free agents. Like, they didn't have draftable grades on those guys, but it was a way that they just guaranteed that they got the guy they wanted in the door, who they were looking at undrafted free agency. But those dudes, it's just, they don't pan out almost ever. So, like, I don't care. Like, just pay him an undrafted free agency. Like, it doesn't even hit the cap, to my knowledge. So I wasn't a fan of the 7th round pick. For me, the only thing 7th round picks are really great for is just for trade capital, right? To move up a little bit in the 4th or the 5th. So we're kind of in the same line there.
Some GMs are going to have bigger, philosophy on that. And yeah, I get it. It's almost a lazy man's way of, I'm trying to get these more 7th-round picks, so I don't have to like sweet talk a player. I don't have to give them money to get them on the team. And a lot of these guys, you're talking to them and say, hey, we got you in the, somewhere between the 5th and 7th round. If you're the top guy on our board, we're going to take you. And you have players that you liked better than him in the 5th, 6th, and 7th because you had a 5th round grade on a guy. That guy falls and you're the first guy to call. And this guy might want to field some offers though, but because he thought he was a 5th rounder, but at least you were talking to him during the draft. And I'm sure there's a list of guys and you're like, these guys are still undrafted, get on the fucking horn, And and Kwesi got a few guys, and it was kind of nice. But
I want to welcome Byron to the show. So he's been on Twitter asking me some questions. I told him come check out the show. Super happy you made it, dude. Happy birthday to your kid. I think it was his kid's birthday. So he's hopping on after the party.
My high school football coach, Bonham High School, just retired. He was my assistant. He became the head coach. Won 2 state titles in South Dakota. His name is Byron.
Oh,
and he taught me how to drive. So there you go.
Nice. There you go.
Byron.
Good to have you, man. Welcome to the show. Feel free to fire any questions here in the comments. We love answering questions from you guys. So, just more about Rob. So I'm actually super interested in how this is going to play out because stay with me here. What if this scenario, Rob wants the GM job? He's like, he really wants it. And now we know via Matthew Collar, who asked the owner, Mark Wilf, at the owners meeting, he said, what's the structure you guys are looking for? Do you want a football president of operations like the Bears have with Kevin Warren? Or do you want to keep the current structure where it's head coach, GM, ownership? And Mark Wilf said, we want to keep the current structure that we've always had. We want a head coach and a GM working together, and they both answer to us, the ownership. Okay. The issue with that, as we all know, is that the Wilfs are absent owners. They're in New Jersey. All right. So on 2 separate occasions now, the relationship between the coach and the GM has gone sour, and the relationships in the building have gone sour under their noses. And that happened with Mike Zimmer and Spielman. And then it happened with Kwesi, and not necessarily Kwesi against Kevin O.C., but just the building against Kwesi is what I'll say. Like, the building didn't necessarily support Kwesi. So, I was thinking it would have been a good idea to have a football president of operations, and that Rob would be the perfect guy for that, right? To be the guy between the GM and the head coach and ownership, and just be the cap guy and run things like that. But that's not the way the Wilfs want it. So what if Rob Brzezinski really wants to be the GM? All right. And he gets the job. And then what if 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the road, I don't know, things go south, right? He might get fired. Now we're out our cap guy. That's not a great situation either. So to me, it's kind of tricky. We're like, in a perfect world, if Rob doesn't want the GM job, he just wants to be the cap guy, well, then it's easy. You go have your GM candidate show and you pick another GM. But what are your thoughts on that? Would you like to see Rob be the GM for the Vikings? I wouldn't mind it. I just worry about that scenario where he leaves the organization and I don't want him to be put under the pressure like that.
When you texted me, I was thinking like you were worried about who's our cap guy going to be, and I'm like, still Rob. Yeah,
still Rob.
Yeah, I felt it was still Rob, and he'll be like taking a guy under his wing. So I'm not too afraid of what our situation would be down the road with if we, what our cap guy will be like, because I think it'll be well trained. Obvious, and a lot of it's just math and accounting and just knowing the rules. And if he has a 5-year window of getting, if he's the GM and even 2, 3, 4, 5 years, as he can learn that job. And I'm sure there's a little more to it than that, and talent wise and brain power. Now I think he's earned it. I think he's tied to the team. He's got his, this is my life. This is my team riding on it. I think loyal. He knows the game. I love the way he came out and talked about his, the players, and like, Jordan Addison's no brainer. Yeah, it's a no brainer, of course. Because, receivers of talent are going twice as much. It's just a no brainer. I'll figure out the math later because talent's talent. I see it. And with 27, we got a guy on half price. So, yeah, I think if he wants the job, it should be his. Let's see how the draft goes. And if there's like, we missed our pick by like 3 spots or something like that, we didn't get our draft card in like we have before. We might want to think about it. He's not as little fast on the draw. I want to see how this draft goes. I want to see him on the phone with those players and see if he talks about, is their favorite rap song or not. And I want to see, I want to just see how he handles the players that are coming in, what he focused on. Did he move around? Did he overpay or underpay? Because we saw Kwesi, he overpaid for shit.
Yeah.
He did. And even though there was that scale, whatever, those 2 scales, and it leans this way and this one leans this way and this one. No, eyesight. We have eyes, we have ears. We know you got screwed on that Lewis Cine trade. We knew that from the day one. The minute it happened, that's all we got. I mean,
when I didn't see that we didn't get a 1st-round pick next year for that trade, I'm like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, you're trading almost out of the 1st round. You should get a next year 1st, and that should be where it started. And then you get, I don't even want to talk about it. I was so,
bad taste in the mouth from the first draft, and I hope to God that Rob Brzezinski has a better 1st draft than that.
And a good transition here, drafting a safety in the 1st round. You talked about how people are shying away from drafting our draft darling in the 1st round.
Dylan Theineman. If you guys haven't noticed in the comments, everyone and their mom has been projecting Dylan Theineman to the Minnesota Vikings at the 18th slot. And I mean, this kind of started with Daniel Jeremiah around, I think he said it at the combine. He was the first one to link him to the Vikings at the combine. And he did his first post-combine mock with Thieneman going to the Vikings. And then after that, boom, boom, boom. Everybody else, Thieneman, everybody sending him to the Vikings. Now, Matthew Collar did a whole show about this recently where he looked at, does it make sense to draft a safety at 18 overall? And he went into basically just the contract situation and like the value of picking a safety. And he said, if you pick a safety at 18, he's got to be damn good, not just good, but damn good to like meet the value of the pick. But the one thing that I wish he talked about a little bit more was that this is not a normal draft class because he's going into, positional value, but this draft class, like the best talent is at the non-premium positions like safety. There are no great defensive tackles available at 18, in my opinion. I like Caleb Banks. I like Peter Woods. I think at 18, it's a little bit rich for those guys. McDonald is more of a run stuffing guy. I wouldn't really take him in the first. But I know Tyler Fornes, he wasn't big on watching Thieneman. He said he's not sure that he's a fit. Luke Braun said the same thing. Me and you, and I talked to Tyler. I'm like, I don't know if we're watching the same guy because like I'm watching him play center field, and I'm watching him snipe the ball going between the hash marks. I'm watching him, make all these tackles and fly around. Like I can see the athleticism.
Like, what is he not good at?
Exactly. So I was confused. I'm all in on Dylan Thieneman at 18. Like I think that would be a great pick.
I was doing a PFF mock before the show today, and Thieneman was gone.
Yeah,
and I looked and I was like, I need to trade down. There's nothing here for me, and
especially since Avion Terrell re-aggravated his hamstring, which he should still be fine for camp. But I mean, that's multiple re-aggravations now with that hamstring. Like, I do believe that's going to affect his stock. Would not be surprised if Avion Terrell fell to the top of the second round now. So that could be a trade back target as well for the Vikings.
Yeah, if we trade back, and we get if it's a small trade down and we get a third, that's probably pretty good. If we trade down, we need to where we got Lewis Seen from 18. Now I'm talking about maybe moving up or swapping seconds or getting a fourth with it. If we're going to the second round, then I need I need a lot more than that. But I would like the extra picks to fill the depth because we've been missing that. For 3 years now. 3 years now.
That's where our roster is hurting. We need depth. You're absolutely right. Norpheus, I like that you threw out there Peter Woods as a short yardage fullback. I think the Peter Woods hate nationally is out of control. I think he's a good player who was asked to play a position that he was not supposed to play. He played a lot of defensive end snaps as a defensive tackle. And, that didn't reflect great on his grades or his pass rush win rate. But when you turn on the tape, this dude is athletic as hell, rocked up, can win inside with speed, with power. Like, he's a good player, and he's so athletic that, to Norpheus's point, they put him in the backfield and gave him the ball in short yardage situations. He scored touchdowns, man. You can find that on YouTube. That was fun to watch. I'm still in on Peter Woods, 100%. I am still in on Caleb Banks. So Raymond said stay away from Caleb Banks with the injury. Now, I've backed off on Caleb Banks at 18, but if we do a trade down to the end of the first round, top of the second, I'm still very much in on Caleb Banks at that spot. To my understanding, he had a Jones fracture, fifth metatarsal fracture that was treated with a open reduction internal fixation. So there's a screw in there. Same surgery that Derrick Henry underwent. Derrick Henry had that procedure done. He has not had a re-injury to that metatarsal since. He's been a beast. I believe it was a different metatarsal. I think it was the fourth metatarsal he fractured at the combine. And in my opinion, what most likely happened is what he was dealing with a stress fracture in that bone. It was weak. Upon doing the combine, that progressed to an acute fracture. He then underwent plate and screw fixation on that injury. Okay. it is 100% a red flag that Caleb Banks has 2 fractures and 2 different metatarsals. That makes me question if he's got a bone metabolism issue going on. Like, why is this big man breaking bones like they're made of glass? Not it's not normal. So figured out. However, these injuries that he's had, they do heal, and he should be ready to go by training camp and be at full speed. So I wouldn't automatically just cross him out on your board. I think that I would still be okay to take him, but I may have moved other players ahead of him, such as some of the corners. For instance, Colton Hood. I like Colton Hood more than I like Caleb Banks at this time. That's a name that we don't talk about a lot. He just ran 4.34 at his pro day. So, we'll get more into that during our mock draft, but I wanted to throw that out there. I know Byron wanted to hear more about the Banks injury, so I kind of laid that out for him there.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How good are you at Scrabble?
I'm not great at Scrabble, right? Why?
Metatarsal, and acute fracture, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, hey guys, we gotta, this is brought to you by Medical Scrabble.
This is what you pay me for, partner.
This is what I pay him the big $0 for.
You pay me with a platform
for this free platform.
There you go. Still, talking about the draft, let's just transition to the next point here, which is, I can say this emphatically based on the comments made at the owners meeting. The Minnesota Vikings will be drafting a center in the draft. Did you hear the comments from Kevin O'Connell, Dave?
I didn't. Shoot, go ahead.
So he essentially said that, he liked Brandel at center and that he was excited to have him work at center position, all offseason long. And he's showed some good things at center, and he's got confidence in him. And then from my understanding, they said that they like Juergens above the shoulders, meaning that they like his smarts, but he's not necessarily, like the biggest guy for that position. And then it was interesting. He said, I think there's a lot of good centers in the draft that we're going to take a good hard look at.
So I did read that quote. Yeah, I didn't hear the video though.
We will be taking a center. And when you look at where they are projected to go, I think they're going to get a center with one of those 2 third-round picks. So my question to you, partner, was, who is your center of choice for this draft? Do you have a draft target?
And as I told you before, I misunderstood you, and I went for running back.
Oh, okay. Well, give me your running back of choice.
There was a Washington Jr. from Arkansas. PFF had him going in the 3rd round ahead of us. So if we were able to move up and get him or stick and pick, he's legit. A low first, high 2nd round talent to me. I think he would have been right there in the mix last year with the big class last year if he played for a better team, that better offensive line, quarterback that didn't run the ball. He only had 1,000 yards, but he had a 4.33 40, and when you look at the 40, you could see the acceleration, the power. You could see him turn the corner. You could see him catch the ball in his highlights. He didn't drop many, and he caught most of the balls thrown to him. I think it was like 28 out of 36. Took a little over 200 yards, but he only had 1,000 yards, but he had 6.5 per carry. And he looked like he could dish some hits. He looks like he's got long speed and hits the hole fast. I think one of the things I look at is when the ball snaps, how quick he gets to that hole. And he does fine. There's no dancing back there. He hits the hole. I think he reads his blocks. He's shifty enough. But I think the key is the speed to the hole and his acceleration as he's going downfield. And I think it would be a no-brainer at the 3rd round. Sorry, I misunderstood the assignment.
No, you're fine. I agree with you totally. And it's funny you say that, because everything they've been telling us is that they're also going to be taking a running back early. So that's going to be either the 2nd or one of those 3rd-round picks, in my opinion. Like, it's very clear that they have a plan on what positions they would like to attack as long as the board falls their way. And that is center and running back in one of those early picks. And so we'll try to accomplish this in our mock at the end of the show, knowing this. But Mike Washington, to all the points that you just said, is very intriguing. He was a combine star, 6'1", 225, 4.3 speed. Somebody said that he reminds them of Latavius Murray because of the
that was I think he's more fluid than Murray.
He's faster.
But yeah, that's who he reminded me of.
Yeah, he's faster. He's got more burst to him, but he runs upright like him. And yeah, I think he'd be a great pick, dude. I mean, that is what this offense needs. Like, we need the lightning to Jordan Mason's thunder. So I did want to throw out Byron's comment here. He likes Damon Claiborne, who is a little lightning bug type of guy. He is like 4'3", but he's built kind of like Darren Sproles. Like, he's little, but he's fast as hell. You should watch some of his tape from Wake Forest. He just shoots through the hole and he's gone. Kind of like a little Devon Achane a little bit, in my opinion. Fun player. I think he's probably like a 4th round draft pick if I had to guess. So, that's probably a trade down spot because the Vikings currently don't have a 4th round pick. So, yeah, I think for sure. Norpheus says, I'd rather jump in the 2nd for Price. So a lot of people have Jadarian Price being the 2nd running back off the board. I've seen his stock all the way up at number 32 to the Seahawks. So he's probably a 2nd round pick, but could sneak his way into the end of the 1st. That's something worth monitoring. But that, he's going under the radar just because he played on the same team as Jeremiah Love. But Jadarian Price has good tape too.
I picked him in the 2nd round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if he makes it to the middle of the 2nd round, sometimes I take him because he's a good player. So for me and my 3rd round pick, my guy is Logan Jones, center for Iowa. He's a 95th percentile athlete. He's 6'2", 300 pounds. He ran the 40-yard dash in 4.9 seconds, which is 98th percentile. 20-yard split was 2.85, which is 97th percentile. And his 10-yard split was 1.75, which was 87th percentile. You pull up his PFF grades. He's a very good pass blocker. He's the best pass blocking center in the draft, in my opinion. He certainly has sand in his pants. He can drop his ass. The one thing about him is that he's going to be a 25-year-old rookie. So if you can get over that, then he's the guy for the Vikings, in my opinion, because I love a guy like Connor Lew, because Connor Lew, I don't think is 21 yet, and he's a good prospect. And he's just a guy, though, that's going to have to grow into his body and grow into the position. There's going to be growing pains there. And where the Vikings offensive line is right now, I think they're probably looking for a center to come in and just win the job as a rookie. And to me, that's Logan Jones. What do you think about that?
Yeah. Was there a reason why he spent that long in college? Was there injuries or?
I don't know the answer to that, to be honest with you, but a lot of those Iowa guys, with Kirk Ferentz, the offensive line coach, they just love playing for that team, and they'll stay there and kind of.
Yeah, and I guess you're getting money now, so
yeah,
and you're not going to make as much probably as a rookie.
Like Jennings Dunker, which that's the kid from Lena, around where I grew up. I think he's going to be a 2nd round pick. He had a quote saying no amount of NIL money could get him to go away from Iowa because of their coach. He just loved it there so much.
That's cool.
Here's a name, Norpheus, I'm glad you brought up. Pat Coogan, so the center for Indiana, knows how to win 2 national championship games in a row.
Yeah, we were looking at him late.
I just don't know enough about him, to be honest with you. Pat Coogan. I'm going to look up his RAS.
Yeah, we were always picking him in like the 5th round, or looking at him in the 5th round, right?
Yeah, we like to take him late. If we've passed up center, he's our guy that we'll get later on.
I like winners.
Yeah, dude, I'll take anybody from that Indiana program. That is a good program.
What are you looking up?
Trying to look up his RAS score. I can't find it right now. I just wanted to see what kind of athlete that kid was, but that's all right. Can't find it right now. What was next on the docket here, partner? Let's see. What are the 3 biggest needs you want the Vikings to fill via the draft?
So I just want a young running back, and there's good ones in this draft, and I just pull the trigger, man. And I'm not as high on getting a center because I think we'll have, you know, I think we have an acceptable one right now. But I definitely want to. I think we're gonna have a hole at safety in the next couple of years. So I feel like our first round pick, if we get Thieneman, that's awesome. So I feel like a secondary is a concern. I would love a number 1 corner. I don't know how many of those are in this draft though, but the safety is pretty deep. So I'll kind of lean to safety on that. And D tackle, but I could switch that, and I just, again, I don't know how important D tackle is to our defensive coordinator because we haven't, just the way he plays, the way we play defense. We, the guys going out were complaining about how they didn't utilize their talents or whatever like that. So, I made the comment, maybe he doesn't like a big defensive tackle. Maybe he's fine with guys just running gaps or whatever, or taking guys out of the play or whatever. But so D tackle or offensive center would probably pretty even to me. But either safety or getting in the number 1 corner, I know I'm cheating here, or running back. And I love offense. I love running backs. Like the jersey you're wearing, I have the same jersey. It was fun to fucking watch, man. It was pure joy watching Adrian Peterson run. And if I get a 75% of that, I would be happy again. And I think it would just do wonders for our offense. So let's get him. Let's get our running back.
I'm going to list all of our needs and try to get it down to the big 3 for me. So running back is right up there. You didn't mention tight end, but TJ Hawkinson is leaving after this year. So it's a need for me. Wide receiver 3 is a really big need, in my opinion. And then defensive tackle in particular, a big space eating son of a bitch, like you mentioned. And Byron Flores, that was a huge part of the New England defense that Flores grew up in. Having a guy like, was it Lawrence Guy? I think they had just Vince Wilfork for a little while, just eating space in the middle of that defense. Cornerback and safety are both huge needs. And another one, dude, linebacker. We just list all these needs. This team, like you said, needs so much depth. So how do I list those in the biggest crucial order for this year? I would say as much as I want running back, I think we can survive another year with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason and some other running back 3 who might get cut from another team. Maybe it's Xavier Scott again, but I think we can survive another year with that as is.
We could.
Now, I still think the Vikings are taking one because they've been telling us that they are going to, and I believe them. So I'm going to scratch running back off that list. Defensive tackle, I don't think that has to be one of my top 3. They need a dude to help stop the run, period. Dominique Orange, some guy like that who can just plug up space and help the run game. That's a necessity. I think the other guys that they drafted lately, Levi, Drake Rodriguez, Redmond, those can be more your penetrator types. So if they didn't get a guy like Caleb Banks or Peter Woods, I'm okay with relying on what we have in the room, but we do need a dude who can help us against the run. So defensive tackle, that's one of my top 3 needs right there. Safety, I really think Josh Metellus needs to get back to his rover position. And honestly, Theo Jackson just did not have a good year out there last year. Harrison Smith was really good the second half of the year when he got back to form, but Who knows if he's going to retire or come back, but even so, we need a dude to take over once he's gone. I'm going to have defensive tackle and safety as 2 of the top 3 needs. And then I'm going to say corner because number 1 is just a thin room still, even with the guy that we got for pennies from the Steelers, who I like. But if one of your top 2 guys, Byron Murphy or the other guy, goes down, we're in a shit ton of trouble. And what's the little fast guy's name that we signed from the Eagles? He had the 2 touchdowns, the corner who had the 2 touchdowns in the Cincinnati Bengal game.
Isaiah Rodgers.
Isaiah Rodgers, thank you. He's going to be a free agent, I believe, after this next year. So you either have to extend him, and I think he's going to get paid because corners are getting paid. Thank you, Norpheus.
Yeah.
So like you just need
do
a
your
guy.
homework.
Do your homework. That's an inside joke. So you need a guy. So defensive tackle, cornerback, and safety. Those are my 3. Big defensive draft that I'm projecting for the Vikings.
Yeah, I was probably going to go with that, but then I like running back so much. Yeah.
All right, guys. Let's fire up a mock.
I want the future here.
I want a mock.
And we know how much money Skoldock makes because he thinks we're paying that cornerback pennies when he's probably making $5 million a year. Just kidding. I put 5 rounds. How slow, randomness of the draft for needs, care for positional value, slow. Let's go mid. Okay, inner draft. 5 rounds good.
That sounds good. We're not trading up, I tell you that.
Yeah. Depth. So start draft. Yep, 11-16. Who did you go to? Thieneman? Oh, he went 11 to Dolphins.
Yeah, and these PFF mocks, Thieneman doesn't really make it to 18 very often.
Yeah, I've seen him go. The last couple I did was 12.
Now, the Lions taking Jermod McCoy right in front of us, he would have been a guy I was looking at 18 for sure. So we got CJ Allen, linebacker, on the board. I like him. I don't think at 18 I would take him. I think that's a little rich for a linebacker. Jordan Tyson, I do like a lot for wide receiver 3. Absolutely. I would feel comfortable pulling the trigger on Jordan Tyson. Mesidor just honestly shouldn't even be on the board here. Like in real life, I think he's going to go higher. I don't believe he's going to be on the board. 20% pass rush win rate, 6'3", 280. He's kind of more your big defensive end style. So I don't think he really fits the Brian Flores defense, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Emmanuel McNeil Warren is absolutely a guy that I would
And we
take.
talked about him.
Yep. And somebody actually came out and said, like, he's a really good Brian Flores type of player, the way that he plays downhill and can recognize stuff and jump stuff. So, that's an option for us as well. I'm not a fan of Keldrick Falk, guys, at all. He's just not my flavor. He's a young guy. He's a really good pass rusher. He would be a 5 technique in this defense. I just don't see the upside with pass rush ability, and I don't think you take a 5 technique that high in the draft. So that's a no for me.
Yeah.
I like Omar Cooper Jr. a lot. I like Avion Terrell a lot. Omar Cooper Jr. is like your Deebo Samuel guy. He breaks tackles, dude. Can you go back to the stats? Does it say a break tackle percentage or anywhere? Does it say that anywhere?
Over here, yards receiving grade, drop rate.
I guess not. Go down a little bit to advanced stats. Missed tackles forced, 27. He's tied for 4th in college football.
It's pretty good.
He's a tough tackle. I am team trade down here. Let's see who's calling. The Chargers are calling. They want us to go down to 22. And then who's the other team? Click the down arrow by the Chargers, that right there.
Denver to 62.
No, not doing that. Let's ask for 22 and see if they'll give us 55 as well to go to 18.
Nope.
They said no. What if we throw in a late round pick, like, 196 there?
Barely. There's a
163.
97 does it. What do we got? 86 from? No.
Let's see what the comments say. Are you guys okay with sending 18 and 97 for 22 and 55? I think we pull that trigger because that gets us a high pick there in the second.
And we're only dropping 4 spots.
Yeah,
we could trade down again.
You could even trade down again if you wanted to. I'm gonna say Rob pulls the trigger. Let's move down. Let's offer trade.
Fired. Okay. Offer trade.
There Accepted.
We go. Resume draft.
Jordan Tyson is gone. CJ Allen's gone. Keldrick Falk's gone. So we still got our safety. We still got our corner that we like. We still got another wide receiver. I still like Colton Hood down the board. Let's see who's calling. See if we can do another move down.
33, so second round.
See if they'll give us 44, 33 and 44 to go down. They do not want that. What if we throw them 82?
Yeah.
So that's a yes. What if we add 103?
Get 140.
Try 103.
It was below 50, but 41%.
Let's try that.
Okay, we're losing 82. I don't go. I think we're just. What are we going back into the late 4th with that, or
what are you saying?
Oh, if we 103, is that the late 4th?
103 is
late early 3rd, early 4th.
Yeah, okay. 97, yeah. 98 is like the end of the 3rd.
Okay, offer this one.
Yeah.
No.
They said no.
Attempts remaining. Maybe if we
throw in like a 7th or from us. Yeah, one of those.
No. That's 53. We got 4 chances. So let's I'll do the 196.
Sure.
196. All right, so step it up.
They're playing hardball there.
Okay, let's do 163. We got 3 attempts left.
Oh, we have a guest appearance, guys. We just executed a trade.
Here we go.
Here's CC.
Oh. So we're down to 33. We're out of the first round. We've accumulated more picks. Oh, and your dog?
CC. She's a good girl.
My dad's favorite drink, CC Cloudy, Canadian Club Whiskey.
There you go, CC.
He said, CC Cloudy, hold the cloudy, he said. My dad. All right. Just resume draft, go to 33.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we'll start drafting.
Now, just pausing the conversation here.
Look at that.
Draft night, how we feel? So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 picks in the top 103, but 4 of those are the top 55. So we've added a lot of capital here, right in the sweet spot of this draft. Now, I think a lot of people are going to be upset with trading out of the first round, but look at this. Caleb Banks, like at this stage of the draft, I'm okay with that. Top of the second round, I am perfectly okay with that. Here's another interesting nugget, by the way. The 33rd pick, the first pick of the second round, tends to carry a lot of value for teams calling overnight and trying to get up to that pick to draft, I don't know, Ty Simpson or something like that. So that's something to keep in mind. Let's take a look at our board. So we have Denzel Boston, wide receiver prospect that I like. Caleb Banks, Colton Hood. That's a corner I really like. 6 foot 195, ran 4.3 speed.
21 years old.
Yep, he's a good player. To me personally, I want to take Banks here. I want to take a shot at a stud defensive tackle freak. And I know, like, guys, I'm the foot doc. Like, I know that scares you guys, but I'm okay taking the shot on a guy in the second round with this type of talent. And we got a lot of picks about to roll here, so he'd be my guy.
Caleb Banks.
Caleb Banks.
All right. I came up quick. Look at that.
Hey, our guy D'Angelo Pons went before we could take him.
No.
Now, I already know my guy here. I'm looking right at him. But let me just float this idea for you guys. How would you feel about the Vikings double tapping defensive tackle to start the draft? Caleb Banks and Lee Hunter. You got your Pat Williams clone in Lee Hunter next to Caleb Banks. That would just be all the beef in the middle. You're adding two guys who are 330 pounds to the middle of your defense. That would be pretty wild. That'd be kind of fun. With that said, there's a lot of holes on this team, and I'm looking at Chris Johnson right here, cornerback. I think Chris Johnson, and a couple guys have said this, a couple draft guys have Chris Johnson as CB1 on their board because of how good this player is. You look at his zone coverage grade, 91. Coverage grade in general, 92. Man coverage grade, 74. He's a good player, and he's physical, he's fast, fluid hips, everything you're looking for in a corner. I really like this guy.
Passer rating 16.
Yeah, that's you do better if you just throw it into the ground. Daniel didn't like
Chris.
the Banks pick, but I like him at 33, Daniel. I like the value there of Banks at 33. Yeah, let's go Chris Johnson corner. Now, somebody said running back. I mean, we got a few picks coming up here, guys. We got 49, 55, and 103. So I think Jadarian Price is still on the board. If we wanted to pull that at like 55, we'll probably still get Price. So let's scroll down the board here. See, there's Price right there. His ADP is 56. So if you want Price, we're probably going to have to take that now. 5'11", 210, good size, fast player. Elusive rating is excellent at 118. He's a good back, man.
Yards after contact, 167th.
0 drops, pretty good out of the backfield catching the ball.
Only got 7 targets.
Yeah, he's. I think he can do it. They didn't utilize him doing that at Notre Dame.
Averaging 6 yards per carry for 3 straight years, though.
I think he can do it though. On the combine, he caught the ball well. So let's take our back. Let's take Jadarian Price here.
All right. Here we go.
Now we're up on the board again. Now keep in mind we still need a center, but it's probably a little early. We could trade back to get our center. I do like Chris Brazzell, the wide receiver. We should be looking at wide receivers. He's the 6'5" guy. He's lightning fast. People throw out the name Randy Moss. He's not Randy Moss, guys, but he is intriguing.
Good production.
Angelo wants us to look at a safety. Is AJ Halsey still on the board? I didn't see if Halsey was taken yet.
There's a Bryce Lance.
I like Lance. Yeah, I bet Halsey's gone. Stukes is probably a safety in the NFL. Yeah, I don't like Ramsey. Jennison Smith and Wheatley, I would look more so at, at the pick 103 that we have later on. But Stukes is interesting. Go click on corner. This is a guy who is met with the Vikings. Click on trade on Stukes there. Yeah. He's met with the Vikings. His coverage grade is a 90. 6'2", 200. I've seen draft guys saying that he's going to transition to safety in the NFL. And they play in a system there at Arizona that's very similar to the Flores scheme. They do a lot of cover zero stuff, and the corners are on islands back there playing zone. So that could be a sneaky pick here, transitioning him to safety. Who else is on the board?
I like how they say the Vikings' needs are exactly my needs. Running back, center, D-line.
Norpheus loves Bryce Lance here, wide receiver. So just keep in mind, guys, we need to take a center either with this pick or with pick 103.
Yeah, the next thing, 77. That's no good.
Let's. You want to move back potentially to 77 and take a center there? Let's trade back
to 77 from 55.
All the centers are kind of grouped together around the 70th, like in that 70 range. We'll still get a guy we want, and then we might still have a wide receiver we like there. And then we can pick. Let's do that, and then we'll pick our safety that we like at 103.
Okay.
So let's trade back.
Trade 77.
Let's do 77 and 116. And throw in 155 since they still.
Jesus, so you can get their whole draft.
Okay, sure, cool, whatever. Doesn't matter. We're not picking
this
round.
Dropping back. If they get 77 and 116, yeah, I'll take their whole draft. Offer it?
Sure. Who the hell do they want to trade up so bad for?
Yeah.
Let's see. Hit resume. Derek Moore. Okay, congratulations.
Probably could have traded up. Oh, Mike Washington.
Mike Washington went. Okay, so Dominic Orange is staring us in the face. That's my dude. That's the plugger. 6'4", 325, just absolute run-stopping plugger. There's Connor Liu. He's a center prospect. Right under him should be Logan Jones somewhere. There's Sam Hecht. I like him as well. He's more of like your zone center, sideline to sideline. He's going to get moving in the run game. Jake Slaughter, I'm not as high on as these guys. And then Logan Jones should be just underneath these guys right there, 95. Click on him real quick. Look at his numbers. Again, I said this guy's the athlete. His pass blocking grade is 90.7. I mean, he's the best pass blocker in the class. That's why I like that guy so much.
Well, we pick at 103. So
yeah, let's do a small trade up once we get closer to Logan Jones. Take us back up to the top of the board. The players.
Okay.
See if there's a player we like. For instance, you could try for Dominique Orange here, or you could take a linebacker. I like Anthony Hill Jr., who's available right here. His numbers aren't great, but he's got awesome size and he's got awesome speed. He's very young, so he's going to take some conditioning, but I like his long-term outlook.
What are you thinking?
Show me the wide receiver list real quick. Ted Hurst, 97. Chat likes him too. I am a big Ted Hurst fan. I don't care if it's a little bit of a reach. I like Ted Hurst. Byron's telling us Big Citrus. Bob likes Big Citrus. That'd be fun to get Caleb Banks and Big Citrus in the same draft.
Oh, we just lost 2 guys, so
Screw it. Let's get Big Citrus here. Let's plug up the middle. Click off of wide receiver. Go up.
oh, crap.
And click that X. And there's Big Citrus, first one.
All
Let's
right.
tap that.
I gotta.
And then we're going to have click
Let's
draft
stop
there.
at 90.
Yeah, let's do that. Just keep your eyes on the board for when centers start flying. There's 1. There's 2. Yeah. Let's jump up here. Let's get 88. Let's give them 103 in a later pick. There we go. Just send them this. This is fine.
Here we go.
And now we're
Ooh.
taking our favorite center. So click on Connor Liu real quick. Now, he's not even 21 yet. He's 20 years old. His numbers, he's got size, 6'3", 303. His numbers aren't the same. Like, they're not there. They're not like a Logan Jones. But again, he's 5 years younger.
He doesn't need to play right away.
The question is, what do you guys want? Do you want Logan Jones to come in and try to win that job from Brandel year 1? Or do you want to take a guy in Connor Liu who can blossom into the best center of the class in 3 to 4 years? That I will leave up to the chat. Now,
Logan
Bob
Jones
wanted,
or Connor Liu?
Daniel says Liu, no. Byron says do Ted. He wants Ted Hurst. He wants a wide receiver here. I mean, we need a center, though, Byron. Click on Ted Hurst again. He's athletic as hell from Georgia State. Good numbers. How many? 6'3", 195, great size. He had 71 catches for about 1,000 yards. He's a good player. He'd be fun as wide receiver 3. I mean, this is what we were talking about. Like, which
tallest receiver?
Byron says either one. I like Hurst more here. All right, Hurst it is. Ted Hurst. Comments are talking.
All right.
And we'll see who falls. We'll see who falls at center.
Do we even get a pick?
I think so. I think we have 155. It'll probably be Pat Coogan, right? It'll be our guy, our Indiana guy.
Yeah.
Dave, how do you feel about double tapping the defensive tackle? I like that idea.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't. He was a later pick, mid-round pick. So center or bust.
Let's go look at centers and see who's on the board. It's interior offensive line. There you go. Pat Coogan. It's not really that big of a reach here either. He's got good numbers. Oh, he's big. 6'5", 311, redshirt senior. How's his pass blocking efficiency? 84 pass block grade. He's got good numbers. All right. Hold on. Go back one more time. I want to see how many hurries and sacks he gave up last year blocking from Mendoza. He gave up 10 hurries, 0 hits, 0 sacks this year. Nice. All right. Do it. I'm sold. Pat Coogan, you are a Minnesota fighting Viking, my friend. And that's going to conclude our draft. Let's see how we did. That's an A all day long.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Ooh.
How'd they grade us overall?
B+.
A B+. All right, well, let's go to the top here. Let's recap the draft. So we traded down from 18 to 22, and we sent them our third, but we picked up a 2. We then turned around and traded from 22 all the way out of the first round to the 33rd pick, so the first pick of the second round. And in doing so, we picked up a second-round pick, and a fourth-round pick, and we sent a third and a fifth. So now, if you scroll down a little bit, we now have 3 second-round picks, and we started that run by taking Caleb Banks, which was giving us an A grade. Chris Johnson at 44, they give us a B-. I completely disagree with that grade. I think that's an awesome pick. Jadarian Price at 49, I think that's another awesome pick. So right there, we have 3 starters. Chris Johnson can start on the outside and nickel, and Byron Murphy can move into the inside. Now in the third round, we pick Dominique Orange, graded an A. So now you're talking about getting that run stuffer in the middle of your defense. Absolutely crucial. Ted Hurst, wide receiver 3 at 88, I think is awesome value there.
And they ranked him in 97th, and they still gave us a C on it.
Yep. Pat Coogan in the 5th round, I think that's a great pick too. So grades be damned. I'd be stoked with the start.
Yeah, I got the opposite. It was ranked at 88. We picked him at, or ranked 97. We picked him at 88. That's why we got the C. And then, yeah, we're 30 off on the center too. But yeah, we're picking for need there.
I love that draft, partner.
Yeah, I like it. I'd be excited about this. Got my running back.
Got your running back, got our center, got our defensive tackle, got a corner. Just check. The only thing we didn't get here, again, something's going to have to be sacrificed. In this draft, it was safety. We did not get our safety. So Hope Harrison Smith comes back one more year.
We traded down.
Yep. All right, boys. That is going to do it for this episode of House Calls, brought to you by Skoldoc and my partner, Dave. This was a blast. Love talking ball with you guys. We'll be back next week to talk more ball with you guys and bring some questions for us. All right, guys. Skol.
Skol Vikes.